Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Arkham Files, Season 3. My name is Dr. Henderson,
My name's Dr. Boose.
and today we're going to get into yet another set of the Arkham case files. In this episode, we're going to focus on the villain Hush. Now, what do you think about?
What do I think about him? Don't know much about Hush. I'm very only first introduced to him back in Batman Arkham City with the side missions, and that one I would say which led into the terrible conclusion in Arkham Knight. It was just like a quick time event. All I know is just he wants Bruce Wayne's identity. I can't remember why exactly, and I don't know if it's is it like
Do you
a
not? Do you
penguin
know?
situation?
No. Do you know his backstory?
No. Is it? I was saying, is it like a penguin situation where the
Mhm.
Wayne, like how the Waynes and Cobblepots were getting
A little bit.
a little bit? Because I feel like they were like friends or something, but no, I can't remember why he's trying. I guess he's just trying to ruin Bruce's life by stealing his identity. That's why I'm assuming why he does it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know exact his motive reason of reason.
Um. Okay, so before we get into his case file, I'm just gonna point out something. You may notice that the screen looks a little weird, uh, in which there's only one person in this meeting, and it says both of our names. We are currently in between setups right now. We have something. The room is cooking, more than ever at the moment, and
You got that right.
we are currently in there. But you guys won't get to see it until maybe a couple weeks from now. But yeah, so. With that, let's get into the case file of Thomas Elliot, aka Hush. Hush is a supervillain appearing in American comic books published by DC Comics. Created by Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee, the character first appeared in Batman number 609 in January of 2003 as part of the 12-issue storyline Batman Hush. Have you read this?
I have not read
I have the
this.
first two volumes of it.
Tell me about it. 'Cause I haven't read them.
It's pretty good.
I haven't read a
Mind
Batman.
Batman Mind.
I have not read any Batman book with Hush in it at all.
It's
So
pretty good. I only read the first two though, but it's Jim Lee art. It's really good.
best Batman artist, you think?
Possibly.
Some people say overrated.
Possibly, but I don't know. There's a lot. There's something. I think that what's his name? Who did Batman Noel?
Sure, who did this?
Who did Batman Noel? The that Christmas book. He also did God. I really can't remember his name. Here, let me look it up here real quick. Batman Noel. Oh God, Lee Bermeo. That's my favorite Batman.
Oh yeah. Oh wow.
Um, but yes. So Batman Hush was pretty good. There you go. Yeah.
I saw they came out with the animated movie. I never did see that either.
Yeah.
Because that was that a two-parter?
I can't. I don't remember.
Because it came out last year.
It says Hush serves as a criminal foil to the superhero Batman and belongs to the collective adversaries that make up his rogues gallery. Tommy Elliot is a childhood friend of Bruce Wayne who attempts to murder his own parents and inherit their massive fortune. His plan fails when Bruce's father, Dr. Thomas Wayne, saves his mother's life, beginning his grudge against the Waynes.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Okay, I remember that now. I remember that.
Tommy grows up to be a gifted neurosurgeon and, out of jealous resentment, allies with the Riddler. Yay! Okay. To ruin Bruce's life upon discovering that he's Batman. Wrapping his face in bandages to conceal his identity, Tommy becomes a manipulative criminal mastermind called Hush to seek revenge against his former friend. The character's been adapted from the comics into numerous forms of media, having been portrayed in live action by Cole Vallis in the Fox crime drama Gotham, and by Gabriel Mann and Warren Christie as Hush in the Arrowverse television series Batwoman. Kevin Conroy voiced Hush in the Batman Arkham video game series. Hush resurfaced in Batman Gotham Knights, the story, and later in Detective Comics and Batman Streets of Gotham. He is also the architect behind several of the events of Batman Eternal. And that is this publication history. And now we're ready to get into the character biography. Thoughts so far?
So now, as you're going on with his origins, it's sounding more and more familiar with the from what I've seen in the Arkham games. Because I feel like I definitely remember it being similar to like Peter and Eddie Brock in the Ultimate Universe of Spider-Man, of them being like childhood friends.
Yeah.
And I guess his parents were friends with the Waynes as well.
I believe so. Yes, his parents were friends of the Waynes. They were also childhood friends. He got his parents killed, in a car wreck, I think it was. And then he did it on purpose so he can get their money. But then
How old
Thomas,
was it? How
he
old
was
was
just a
it?
kid.
He was just like a little kid.
Yeah, and then Thomas Wayne managed to perform surgery and kill and bring back his mom, and he was mad.
Oh, so okay, I got you.
Yeah. Here, let's get into his origin. Tommy Elliot was a childhood friend of Bruce Wayne and was also born into a wealthy family. The two boys often played a Strategio-esque minifigure game together, and Tommy taught Bruce to think like his opponents and to use their abilities against them to win, which proved useful years later when he became Batman. Bruce Wayne's Batman? What? Oh, sorry.
No.
Thus, as a child, Tommy exhibits a genius-level intellect due to his capability to think and plan strategically. Tommy despised both his abusive father and his frail, submissive mother, who came from poverty and willingly endured every abuse dealt to her and her son to keep her lavish lifestyle. For all their failings, however, Tommy's parents made sure he was well educated, particularly teaching him about the philosophy of Aristotle, which he often quotes. Driven by his desire for independence and wealth, Tommy severed the brake line of his parents' car, causing a crash that killed his father and injured his mother. His mother, however, was saved in an emergency operation by Thomas Wayne, which enraged young Elliot. While at summer camp with Bruce, Tommy attacked a boy and ended up in a psychiatric ward. He blamed Bruce and his mother for his outburst. He's released by an intern named Jonathan Crane, who becomes the villain Scarecrow. During the next few years, Tommy tended to his mother. When Bruce Wayne's parents were murdered, Tommy resented him for inheriting the Wayne family fortune, just as he had hoped to do with his parents' money. Shortly before Bruce returned to Gotham City, Tommy befriended a young woman named Peyton Riley, who would later become the second ventriloquist. That episode will be linked in the description. A relationship of which his mother never approved. When Tommy's mother recovered from cancer, she disowned him subsequently, cutting him off from the Elliot family fortune in retaliation for his continuing relationship with Peyton. As a result, Tommy murdered her by smothering her with a pillow, while Peyton killed their lawyer and destroyed Mrs. Elliot's new will. As far as the rest of the world was concerned, his mother had died of a household accident. Finally, the sole recipient of his family's fortune, Tommy abandoned Peyton and began traveling the world as Bruce had. Although he went to Harvard University and became a successful surgeon, Tommy continued to harbor an irrational grudge toward his childhood friend. At some point in his career, Edward Nygma, also known as the Riddler, was diagnosed with terminal cancer and eventually hijacked one of Ra's al Ghul's Lazarus pits to regain his health. What is this book? I want to read.
Yeah, no, I was like, I've never
It's
heard.
in Batman
when
Hush.
we-
It's Batman Hush Volume 2. That's the one that I didn't finish.
So I guess I was at the very end because I was all like, surely, did we even mention that on the Riddler episode?
I can't remember.
That's weird.
During this mystical treatment, which renders the participant temporarily insane, the Riddler experienced an unexpected epiphany. He realized that Bruce Wayne was Batman. We did talk about this. Soon afterwards, the Riddler attempted to sell Tommy the secrets of his newfound revelation in exchange for a large cash sum. Tommy, by this time having discovered Enigma's criminal background, instead offered to pay him to kill Bruce. Realizing that they shared a common hatred for Wayne, Tommy and Riddler decided to pool resources to bring him down. To this end, Elliot created for himself the persona of Hush. Riddler said that the name started out as a joking reference to need to keep Tommy's identity secret, but became a more permanent alias when Scarecrow started to sing the lullaby "Hush, Little Baby." And that's his origin.
No.
So his origin is tied in with many other villains. Ra's al Ghul, Riddler, Scarecrow, the second ventriloquist.
Does hearing his origin, does Hush on your level of Batman villains, does Hush go up higher now because he's affiliated with Riddler in any way or not?
I mean, no, but
Okay.
he's interesting. I think he's definitely going to be used. Probably in the Batman too. I really think so because this works with identity. You really got to focus on Bruce Wayne in this movie,
Yeah,
the new one, and so
that's exactly what the second.
and so you
about.
have
It's about
him.
identity.
He's like Bruce Wayne wrong. This guy, not Batman. So what
Yeah.
does Bruce Wayne do to fix this?
Yeah,
And it's that, and then have Riddler come back, and he's the one that helps Hush
yeah.
take down the city. Or try to. Hush character arc. Here we go. In their attempt to destroy Batman, Hush and Riddler manipulated several other villains into unwillingly helping them. These included the Joker, Harley Quinn, Two-Face, Poison Ivy, Scarecrow, Killer Croc, and Clayface. They even manipulated some of Batman's closest allies, such as Superman, Huntress, and Catwoman, against the Dark Knight, utilizing such methods as Poison Ivy using her pheromones to control the Man of Steel. I did read that. And Catwoman and Hush's seemingly benevolent funding of Huntress's vigilante activities. Part of their plot included fooling Bruce into believing the Joker had murdered Tommy. Clayface shifted into Tommy's corpse to create this illusion. While with these villains as their pawns, Hush and Riddler set up an elaborate plot against Batman. Jason Todd, who was believed to be dead for years, entered the pact with the villains and gave them insights into how Batman taught, using the shape-shifting abilities of Clayface that created a decoy of the former Robin. Hush collaborated with Riddler, Todd, and Clayface to use the Dark Knight's guilt over his ward's apparent death against him at Todd's gravesite. This was all in the Batman Hush book. Around this time, Hush cured the disfigured Arnold Allnut, a longtime associate of Batman. Harold Allnut, sorry about that. I said Arnold. In return, Harold bugged the Batcave with several devices that altered Batman's mind, but nevertheless remained loyal to the Caped Crusader. He was certain that Batman would triumph over whatever followed. Hush then killed Harold in front of Batman and immediately engaged the Dark Knight in battle. Batman was at first disoriented by Hush's quoting of Aristotle, prompting him to briefly wonder if Hush is Maxi Zeus. He noticed that Hush used Deadshot's two-gun fighting style and theorized that he was either the assassin himself or one of his proteges. When Tommy finally revealed himself to a worn-out Batman, the Dark Knight was saved only by the intervention of Harvey Dent, whose Two-Face persona had been unwittingly wiped out by Tommy when he repaired Dent's disfigured face. Once again on the side of the law, Dent shot Hush twice, throwing him off a bridge. Although Batman was sure that Hush was his childhood friend, Thomas Elliot, he was not able to unmask him. In 2022, a 20th anniversary edition trade paperback of the original Hush storyline contained a newly produced epilogue. Written and drawn by the original authors Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee, it detailed how Hush escaped to an air pocket in a sunken boat at the bottom of the Gotham River after his defeat on the bridge. After performing surgery on himself to remove the two bullets from Harvey Dent's gun, Hush is shown to crawl ashore only to run into Harley Quinn and the Joker, who puts a gun to his head. The epilogue then ends with a to be continued.
Does because now I'm hearing about Harvey Dent's prosthetic other half of the face being fixed. I was wondering, is that who fixed it for him in the Dark Knight Returns books?
Maybe.
That because I was wondering because I don't know you saying that it kind of occurred. I was like, oh, I wonder if that's who did it in those books.
Yeah, there's a possibility. Yeah. All right, next is Hush Returns. Still out to destroy Batman and determined not to let the rest of the villains get in his way, Hush quickly carved out a niche for himself, beating his former accomplice, the Riddler, to within an inch of his life. Classic. That's the way it always goes for Riddler.
I know. Why do you like him again?
Hush even drives the Joker out of the city, thus proving the Clown Prince that Hush can be a threat to him. Imagine driving the Joker out. He also temporarily killed Poison Ivy during a failed attempt to recruit her. Following a short-lived alliance with the JLA nemesis Prometheus, Hush began to torment Bruce Wayne with help from Clayface, exploiting the latter's shape-shifting abilities. Hush was briefly able to shed doubt on his true identity and had Alfred Pennyworth framed for murder, using samples taken from the new Clayface to infect Alfred with a virus that would allow Elliot to control him. Hush also attempted to analyze samples taken from Clayface with the goal of duplicating Clayface's shape-shifting abilities for himself without the usual side effects such as a loss of default human form, eventually attempting to perfect this analysis by releasing Cassius Payne from prison. This is the longest sentence of my life. Yeah, that's not in this. Reasoning that samples from Cassius would be more useful as he is only pure Clayface. The only one who was never able to be human in the first place. Jesus, that was a long sentence.
Oh.
After Clayface realized he was being manipulated, he provided Batman with a sample of himself to find a cure for Alfred's condition, despite knowing that this would not leave Batman with time to cure him. And he also ensured that Alfred's name would be cleared by ensuring that his final appearance after death would be a form whose fingerprints so closely resembled Alfred's that the detectives would assume they had a mistake. And that's the end of Hush Returns. He likes using Clayface, which makes sense because Clayface is also rumored to be in the Batman 2.
Identity.
Yep.
The movie. Bruce Wayne's identity disorder, the movie.
Yep.
That's what it's called.
All right, payback. The Joker eventually returned to Gotham with an army of trained pigeons and retaliated in Batman Gotham Knights number 73 to 74. He captured Hush and kept him sedated for 3 weeks, during which time he implanted a pacemaker into his body, eventually effectively gaining control of his heart. The Joker's mercy and unable to remove the device, Hush turned to the one man he felt he could trust, or rather, predict, Bruce Wayne. Bruce consented to help Hush on the conditions that he allow himself to be treated in and confined to Arkham Asylum. Hush agreed and then immediately escaped after being told that the surgery had been a success. He was intercepted by Batman before he could confront the Joker and demanded that Batman allow him to kill the Joker. Batman seemed to agree and began to leave, but then revealed that he had tricked Hush. The pacemaker was still in his body, and he had been allowed to escape from Arkham. That moment, the Joker arrived, and Hush begged Batman not to leave him. The issue and the Batman Gotham Knights series ended unresolved. Hush returned in the later Man-Bat miniseries and is later shown remembering how painful it was to remove the pacemaker alone. Now, the time between Gotham Knights and Heart of Hush was mostly spent recovering from the damage suffered, confirming that Batman did desert Hush at the conclusion of Payback. Nice. Okay. Next is I'm gonna get a sip of water.
This week's sponsored drink,
Yeah, water.
Landon's tap water.
Heart of Hush. Here we go. Hush returns in Detective Comics number 846 through 850 in the story Heart of Hush, which ties together with Batman R.I.P. In this arc, set a few nights before the events in R.I.P., Hush is portrayed in a different thematic fashion than his prior appearances. His past as a surgeon serves as an important thematic aspect of his modus operandi. In the first issue, Hush reveals that he has returned. His return was hastened when he began to hear whispers of the Black Glove's upcoming attack on Batman. Hush seeks to prevent Black Glove from killing Batman, which Hush sees as his right alone. In the second part, Hush teams up with the Scarecrow. He performs routine plastic surgery on his own face, which is later revealed to be nearly identical to Bruce Wayne's. Hush then ambushes and subdues Catwoman after she scratches off a portion of his facial bandages. Recoiling in horror at what she sees, he then cuts out her heart, places her on life support supplied by Mr. Freeze, and delivers her to Gotham General Hospital. Hush ponders the formulation of his plan in the wake of Batman's abandonment of him.
Lord.
Yeah. While Catwoman is left in Dr. Midnight's care, WJSA reference, Batman learns the location of Hush's headquarters from Scarecrow. Hush attacks Batman with a paralytic gas and shows him the room containing Catwoman's heart, which is being kept alive through artificial means. He then confesses to Batman his plan. Using his newfound resemblance to Bruce, he will kill and disfigure him to steal his identity, eliminating those who know him best and regularly interact with him, after which he will retire with the Wayne fortune, reasoning that Batman's fellow superheroes will accept that Batman had earned the right to end his career. However, Batman is able to stave off the effects of the paralytic gas, recover Catwoman's heart, and warn Alfred of Hush's deception. Although Alfred disarms Elliot, Hush manages to get to the Batcave, where he nearly kills Batman. Alfred's continued interference in the arrival of Nightwing and Robin turned the tide. Hush retreats on the Whirly Bat, a one-man helicopter, but his bandages became tangled in the rotor, causing the vehicle to explode. It's unfortunate.
Very.
In searching for traces of Hush, Batman, Nightwing, and Robin find only some bloody bandages and conclude that he's dead. Dr. Midnight surgically restores Catwoman's heart, but notes that she's unlikely to ever regain her physical prowess. While convalescing, she and her allies find all of Hush's secret bank accounts and loots those funds for themselves, which she documents in a video that she ultimately leaves for Hush to find, in the event that he survived. Hush, revealed to be indeed alive and wounded and crutch-bound, sees this video before limping off into locations unknown. Later, posing as Bruce Wayne, Hush travels to Australia and Vietnam to loot the cash accounts of Wayne Enterprises subsidiaries. He's captured by Catwoman, along with Nightwing and Robin, incarcerates him in a secret safe house. Hush, still wearing Bruce's appearance, decides to fake a surrender, waiting for the right moment to escape. Okay. What's next? Okay, Batman Reborn. In Streets of Gotham, Batman's biological son, Damian Wayne, visited Hush in his cell as the new Robin, and they played chess. Okay.
Oh.
When Damian left to deal with new crisis, Hush surmised that Firefly was behind the attack. He noted how Gotham City had fallen apart in Batman's absence and pondered how to use the current situation to his advantage. Hush faked experiencing spontaneous combustion. And then Alfred arrived at his cell to...
Been there.
Yeah. And wait. Or was I? Spontaneous combustion. And when Alfred arrived at his cell to assist, Hush overpowered him and escaped. He then reemerged as Bruce Wayne, claiming that he would donate $1 billion a month to Gotham City until the financial crisis was over. Dick and Damian, along with the Outsiders and other assorted superheroes, explained to Hush that they would always be ready to take him down if he steps out of line. No other option available to him, Hush reluctantly agreed to play Dick Grayson's puppet, posing as Bruce Wayne, and thus keeping the public from realizing that Bruce was dead. Though this ruined his original plan to sap the Wayne fortune, Hush did not allow it to halt his scheming altogether. Hush had appeared, notably as a member of the Gotham Shield Committee, around Gotham quite frequently, often attempting to make connections. When Ra's al Ghul arrived in Gotham, promising to ruin the Wayne family in retaliation against Red Robin, the restaurant or in person? Thoughts? Restaurant, Red Robin, is it the restaurant or the hero? No. He immediately sought out Hush. Faced with the prospect of Hush using Ra's al Ghul's support to turn on the Bat family again, Tim Drake activated a contingency plan set in place by Wayne himself to transfer controlling interest in Wayne Enterprises to Drake if something should happen. This left Hush with no official standing in the company. Okay. House of Hush. This one's pretty quick. Hush reappeared in Streets of Gotham for the story arc House of Hush, beginning in number 14. He attempted to push the boundaries of his new role as Bruce Wayne, such as recommending that convicted criminals be allowed back on the streets. However, this plan backfired with the criminal Jane Doe, a woman who lost her face in an accident and had resorted to cutting off the faces of others, became obsessed with Bruce Wayne after he had her released. She infiltrated his life by taking the face of his new assistant and subsequently cut off Elliot's new face with the intention of becoming Bruce Wayne herself. The returned Bruce Wayne, once again acting as Batman, caught her and Hush, and they were both sent to Arkham. Bruce declaring that he was Batman's financial backer to make any attempt Hush might make to expose his identity basically irrelevant. During the events of Batman Gates of Gotham, Hush was freed from Arkham by a new villain named the Architect. As this happened, Red Robin, Batman, and Black Bat. Black Bat?
I've never heard of him.
It's a girl. Yeah, it's a girl.
Never heard of her.
Cassandra Cain.
Langley just won an award for 2003's Hulk.
No,
it was like another award somewhere. What she did.
I realized Elliot family was connected to a series of bombings that destroyed 3 historical Gotham bridges. Batman found Hush, who had been betrayed by the Architect and strapped to a bomb, but was forced to sacrifice Wayne Tower to save his life. Now we're on to the New 52, Batman Eternal. In September 2011, the New 52 rebooted DC's continuity. In this new timeline, Hush first appears in issue 21 of Batman Eternal as the apparent mastermind behind Commissioner Gordon's downfall and Carmine Falcone's return. After injecting Alfred with fear toxin, Hush is seen communicating with Jason Bard about taking control of Gotham. In issue 26, a slightly revised origin for Hush was revealed. He was still Tommy Elliot, a childhood friend of Bruce, but in this version, his parricide is explicitly described as a way for him to get closer to Bruce, who had started distancing himself from Tommy after the death of his own parents, rather than as a way for him to receive his inheritance of escape and abuse or neglect. So he killed his parents just to get close to Bruce in this new one.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's like obsessed with Bruce. Hush turned public opinion against Wayne Enterprises by blowing up one of Batman's hidden weapon caches, known to be connected to Wayne Enterprises after the events of Batman Incorporated, below Gotham, killing an unknown number of civilians, policemen, and military personnel. He was able to enter the cache with DNA taken from Alfred Pennyworth. After having blown up another weapon cache and having been shot through the shoulder with a grappling hook by Julia Pennyworth, Hush gave up his location to Batman to face him in a final showdown. They met and fought in a weapon cache below the Martha Wayne Foundation Hospital, which Hush had rigged to explode as a backup plan. Batman defeated Hush, but was then informed that the government had seized control of Wayne Enterprises and its holdings due to its involvement in the explosions around Gotham. Hush then taunted Batman, stating, "Maybe you're right, Bruce. Maybe I'm not you. But right now, who would want to be?" Hush was then kept as prisoner in the Batcave, but broke out with the help of an unknown mastermind behind the current threat. Hush proceeded to sabotage the equipment of several members of the Bat family via the Bat computer as they fought various villains, including crashing the Batwing with Batman still in it. He was then returned to captivity after having been ambushed by Alfred, harshly informing Hush that he was hardly going to be locked up in his own home. And that was that. All-Star Batman is one sentence. It says, in All-Star Batman number 10, Hush secretly allies himself with Penguin, Black Mask, and Great White Shark to trick Batman into procuring a MacGuffin called the Genesis Engine for them. This ruse succeeds, but Hush and his allies are then ambushed and nearly murdered by the new villain Nemesis. Stars. Sorry. And finally, I believe, yeah, we have DC Rebirth. So after DC Comics' new wide launch Rebirth, Hush first appeared in a single panel cameo, issue 19 of Batman Volume 3, wherein he's an inmate at Arkham and beaten up by Bane. Then in the one-shot Batman Prelude to the Wedding, Nightwing vs. Hush number 1, it's a long title. Hush is tipped off to Batman's upcoming wedding by the Joker. Okay. Sorry, there's an inmate escape. We had to handle that. Anyway, Hush is tipped off to Batman's upcoming wedding by the Joker. Hush attempts to attack Batman's bachelor party not to the Joker. But okay, I thought Batman was getting married to the Joker for a second. I was confused.
What's that issue?
Hush attempts to attack Batman's bachelor party, causing an explosion to distract Superman and then attacking Batman and Nightwing. In the course of the confrontation, Hush's attacks disrupts a dimensional gate Superman had provided that was intended to take Batman to a peaceful pocket universe, resulting in Hush and Nightwing being trapped in an in-between place for individuals who have lost all sense of individual identity. As Hush rants affirm his inability to forge a life for himself outside of an obsession with Bruce Wayne, he reveals that he's given himself plastic surgery to look like Dick Grayson to try and recapture his old friendship with Bruce. Ultimately, Hush is left behind in the pocket dimension despite Nightwing's attempts to help him. However, in Batman Volume 3, number 70, Hush is apparently back in Arkham Asylum, as he is one of the several villains Batman beats up during his escape, after having been captured and subjected to mental torture by Scarecrow, the Flashpoint Batman, and Bane. Later, Hush is shown to be a member of Bane's police force after he had taken over the institutions of Gotham. Hush duels with Batman but loses. He was likely kept obedient through hypnosis by the psycho pirate. Hush resurfaces in Detective Comics number 1031, where he takes advantage of the confusion during an anti-vigilante riot to drug and kidnap several members of the Bat family: Batwoman, Nightwing, Red Hood, Signal, and two Batgirls, Barbara Gordon and Cassandra Cain. Hush plans to harvest their organs to sell on the black market, but is stopped by Batman and Damian Wayne. It also comes to light that Hush tried to have Bruce Wayne murdered as a boy, using his father's half-sister Catherine, who worked as a GCPD detective, to cover up the attempts by botching the investigations. And that is the main comic book stuff of Hush. He's also appeared in stuff such as Batman Beyond, the miniseries in 2010.
How is so? Elaborate of how he's in Batman Beyond.
Revealed that Bruce Wayne's last fight with Hush occurred on a rainy night and consisted primarily of a rooftop chase. As the last-minute means of escape, Elliot dove into an open window only to be shot by the homeowner, who mistook him for an invader. With Batman severely injured and not on good terms with the police, he left Hush's body without examining it. Bruce seemed initially satisfied with that. However, he later admits suspecting that Hush's skill for strategy and plastic surgery could have fabricated the entire scenario. After the events of Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker, which is a good... I read the book, I didn't watch the movie.
Movie's great.
Terry McGinnis discovers the former Signal Man murdered in a manner reminiscent of Two-Face's MO. He goes to find an aged Jervis Tetch that's being held and finds a bandaged man standing over a badly injured nurse. The man flees as Terry rushes over to the nurse, who says the man uttered a single word: "Hush." Yeah, so he's just still out there.
He's just still out there. Okay, I was wondering because I was like,
and there's a lot more, but I'm not going to go through that. He was in Absolute Power, in an alternative timeline, the pages of Superman Batman, where Batman saved his parents while traveling back in time via technology from the Legion of Supervillains. Bruce Wayne and Tommy Elliot were still friends as adults. He was in Flashpoint. He was killed by Batman. He was in Batman Arkham Knight. He was in the prequel comics as well, and he had been impersonating Bruce Wayne, which we saw in the game. Ratcatcher tried to kill him, so I guess Ratcatcher was in that. He was overwhelmed by Ratcatcher's rats. I'm pretty sure I've seen a movie like that. Oh, Jesus. Okay. And then he was in Tales from the Dark Multiverse. There's a Batman Hush. It's a one-shot spinoff from Dark Knight's Metal, where young Tommy Elliot hires the family driver to assassinate his parents, only for the driver to kill Thomas and Martha Wayne by mistake.
How did that happen?
And so it goes through that. There's a bunch of stuff. He's also, like I said, he's been in what is this? What, canceled DTV set for the Batman animated series. Okay. And he's talking about he was in Gotham, he's in the Batwoman show, and all that. And yeah. And he's been in video games and all that. That is the backstory and case file for Hush.
Pretty big one than what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, does this change any? Is this, have you learned something at all about?
Well, I knew a bit with Hush, obviously, with the Arkham games, and it is nice to hear a little refresh. But I really didn't realize how like connected he was with other villains. I thought that was pretty interesting, especially with like the
And how he's completely obsessed with Bruce Wayne.
yeah, it's like uncomfortable obsession with the Midler, that's for sure.
The what?
But I mean, but he's like, he got literally Joker to leave, go out of town. Like,
hey, force Joker out of Gotham.
Like, how do you do that?
No idea.
Joker's like, what? No, I ain't doing that. What do you mean? It's crazy.
But yes, so that was the case file for Hush. I guess we go and get ready to get out of here. Thank you all so much for joining us for another episode of the Arkham Files. Welcome to season 3. The final season of the Arkham Files. And we hope to see you back here next week as we go over the case file of Roman Sionis, aka Black Mask. It's gonna be a fun one. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you haven't already, go check out the previous 2 seasons that are up in a playlist on YouTube, and they're also up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And with that, we are going to go ahead and get out of here. I have been Dr. Henderson.
I am Dr. Boose.
We'll see you next week, ladies and gentlemen. Goodbye.